Hi everyone, it's Sonia here. I have some good news for you regarding the Canadian postal strike. It isn't over yet, but it's almost over. Finally, the government decided to intervene after all, which is kind of weird because 2 days ago they were saying that they were going to stay on the sidelines, but something must have happened in the last 2 days. Canada Post had been on strike for over 4 weeks at this point. For me, as a Poshmark seller, it was what I have come to call the apocalypse. We were all worried that maybe Poshmark wouldn't even recover at all anymore. We couldn't do business and we also couldn't go shopping because we weren't making any money. So that sucked. So here's what finally happened. The union had made demands. The Canada Post had said we're not going to do this. This is too much. They tried to negotiate. Negotiations broke down. The mediator was removed from it. The whole thing was put on pause. And then they resumed negotiations again. Canada Post had, no, not Canada Post, the union had lowered their demand from a 24% raise over the next 4 years to a 19% raise. So they had lowered that, but apparently, according to Canada Post, they had asked for even more in other areas, and it was just going nowhere. It was like going in reverse. It was getting worse. They were further and further apart. No progress being made. Canada Post called the demands unaffordable and unsustainable. I remember seeing the union representative talking about it, and he was like, well, if you just raise the price of a package by $3, you could afford to pay us $35 an hour. And he wants that raise, and he figures it's just come out of our pockets. Just raise the price of postage. Well, anyway, the labor minister, Stephen McKinnon, finally decided the negotiations aren't working and Canadians are fed up and it's gone on long enough. So what he did was he asked this Canadian Industrial Relations Board to order them back to work. So the government are not ordering them back to work themselves. They have sort of handed this task over to the CERB, not to be confused with the SERB. He decided to turn it over to the CIRB, and he appointed a commissioner, somebody called William Kaplan, who is a labor negotiator and was formerly a law professor. He's going to preside over this thing, and basically this organization is going to decide whether indeed they cannot come to any agreement. It's really at an impasse, and in that case the CIRB is going to order them back to work, but it's not like a permanent just get back to work, we're done with this. It's like a pause. So it's going to renew the existing contract until May 2025. And I guess then they can go on strike again. So heads up, make sure you're cross-listing. So like I said, it's not over yet, but we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. They still have to have the hearing or whatever at this commission and decide whether indeed this is a hopeless situation and they have to intervene and make them go back to work until May. But it's looking like that's probably going to happen. Because, I mean, really, if after a month there hasn't been any progress, it doesn't look like it's going anywhere. And from what I hear, a lot of the postal workers themselves are not on board anymore. They're saying that they want to go back to work. They're not getting paid. Some of them had been laid off. That was taken to court, and the union actually won. So Canada Post was not supposed to lay them off for striking. And then Canada Post issued some sort of veiled threats about, well, we can't lay you off, but I can't remember how they put it exactly, but it was something along the lines of, but we might have to reevaluate the viability of your position or something like that, i.e., we might just fire you later. Well, the postal workers don't want to be on strike pay. They don't want to be laid off and they don't want to get fired. And I think a lot of them just want to get back to work. Remember how I told you that the surveys are very telling? In the last couple of days, I had seen articles saying that the Postal Workers Union had lost the support of the public. Like, people had had enough. So I think the government was looking for the timing to be right with whatever they were going to do. And I think they were trying to not directly order them back to work in order to avoid a non-confidence vote. And I guess by handing this over to the CERB, they figured out a way to do that. So one last thing I wanted to touch on was So this postal strike, even though I do believe it was a crisis, it was just awful. Never seen anything like this before in my life. And again, I can't believe it went on for so long. However, what I noticed that came out of it was also something good, for the resellers that I know, for one, such as my friend Melody, who you've seen in the videos, who was selling on Poshmark. Because of this, she started selling actively on Whatnot and getting tons of sales in live auctions. So, you know, the Japanese say the word, their word for crisis and opportunity is the same thing, because it is like a crisis creates opportunity for change because it'll give you a push. For me, it did give me a push. I didn't get all the way on eBay. I did. Oh, I did list something, but I didn't get to the point where I was listing a lot and feeling comfortable, but I made more progress than I would have if this hadn't happened. And I did get on StarLove, and I did make progress on other things like Marketplace and stuff like that. So it did push me as well. It certainly pushed Melody, and congrats, Melody. That's awesome. And Robin also, who you may know from here, Town Vintage, she was really worried about this too, because she gave up her tattoo studio to start selling full time, and she has a daughter who's autistic, and all of a sudden, everything is just completely on hold. She was really worried, and she's gotten involved with local markets. So it seems to me like that was the one good thing that came out of this, is that it pushed all of us to go beyond our comfort zone. So that was kind of good, but man, I'm ready to get back to work. Seriously, I really missed it, and I missed the thrifting also. Oh my God, you guys, I went in the thrift store today with my friend Isabel, and I only bought two things, but let me show you. I'm becoming a more disciplined thrifter. I got this Y2K blouse with these cool multicolored sparkly buttons, and it's from Puli, and I've sold like 3 or 4 of these before, and they're pretty good sellers. It's crinkle material. I got that, and then I found this bomb-ass bag. It's just from Lucky Brand, but it's a really nice one. It's like a tapestry bag, and then it's got this leather handle and leather tassels. I thought that was pretty cool. So yes, some lucky lady will be able to get that bag on Poshmark. So yeah, when things change, it's scary, and when we are facing losing something, that's scary. But when you move away from one thing, it does give you the opportunity to move to something else. Because like, for example, I was doing nothing but YouTube for a very long time, and when that started to die because I just wasn't making money, I wasn't getting views, I got shadow banned. For a while there, I was like in limbo. I didn't know what I was gonna do, and then I discovered the reselling. And I would have never gotten into the reselling. If I had been just making a little bit more money and having a little more traction on YouTube, I probably would have settled for that. But because it was such crap, it made me find something else. And then this just opened up to me. And now I found something that I'm super passionate about. I'm actually happier than I would have been if I had stayed slogging away, trying to crank out videos and sitting at my desk every single day of my life on YouTube, you know? So that's it. I made this video today because I committed to doing Vlogmas, so I've got to put something out for you guys every day until Christmas, which is always really interesting for me after to like look back. It's amazing how it like gives a snapshot of my life. So I have these little Vlogmas albums from the last few years, and I can be like, oh, I remember that year. Oh yeah, oh my God, things have changed so much, you know? So I'm committed, and I'm going to keep doing it. And I will be sure to give you an update if there's any other news on the postal strike front, good or bad. Let's hope it's good. I already got so many sales, like just in the last couple days. I got like, I had a 3 yesterday. I got like 9, 10, 11. I had like 11 sales today on Poshmark, and then like 3 or 4 yesterday. Oh man, like I know I'm gonna have like a ton of packages to deliver. I've already printed my labels. I'm like ready to start packing. I can't wait. Can't wait to get back to work, like I said. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.